Hello everyone, TLSG here, back again with another daily Marvel Snap video. So today we have the newly released Kitty Pryde, and Kitty Pryde is a 1-cost 0 power that has the ability you can return this to your hand to gain +2 power. So initially I was thinking this is going to be really good if you happen to use Kitty on 1, Beast on 2, and Kitty's going to be 0 the rest of the game, because that's the way that all of our other cards interact. So like an Iceman, you bounce it, you put it on the board. If it happens to come back into your hand in any way, it's 0 cost. If Deadpool gets destroyed and it has been bounced, he retains that 0 cost. Kitty Pryde, however, resets back to 1. So whenever you pull her back in, she resets back to 1. I didn't know that going into these games, so you'll discover that along with me. Overall, without having that ability to cheat, I don't know that this Beast Bounce version is the perfect set for her. That being said, we had some really good luck, some really good success. I ended up going 5-1 with this deck list, and some of that was due to lucky draws, some of that was due to poor opponent draws, and then some of it was help from Kitty Pryde herself. But my initial impression is that I think we will need to kind of brew on what she's good in. Maybe it adds back in Collector into the bounce style archetype. That way you can get a 2/6 Collector some of the time. Maybe it's that we lean more into, I don't know, a Mr. Negative Serotonin style build with her, because then she could be 0/1. If you happen to get it early, you can bounce it a couple of times, help further enable your Bishop and Angela. I don't know. I think overall, in this one, she does decently, but I think it's because the Beast Bounce archetype is already really, really strong right now. And so, with the somewhat brief deck explanation out of the way, I'm sure you guys have seen the General Shell. It wants to flood a lot of those low-cost, high-impact interrupt cards at your opponent. So the Iceman, the Korg, your Angela and Bishop getting buffed up all the while. Bast is great for your Mysterio. Overall, the deck is really sound. Kitty Pryde in it does add a little bit of flair, a little bit of function where you can kind of adjust where and how you're playing that power. And it puts a little bit of that question mark on the opponent of where you're eventually going to play that power source in that card. But overall, I like the card. I like the design. I will continue brewing with her. We will continue brewing later tonight on twitch.tv/TLSG Snap. I'm going to be doing a late live stream to test out some of your builds and just any other builds that I come up with for Kitty Pryde in the meantime. With the brief deck explanation out of the way, let's go ahead and jump over into a couple of games. I hope you guys enjoy. All right, first up we have Owen Lee, and we have the new card. Let's see if we're gonna be able to pull Kitty Pryde here. If not, some of the feedback I've gotten on previous release videos is that if I'm not utilizing the card in the video or in the match, to probably exclude it and play a different one. I think so. My biggest, I guess, argument to that is that a lot of times on the showcases, I don't want it to be just around the card. I want the deck itself to be solid. And so if you do happen to pull it, you can rest assured that the deck is going to perform well, even if you don't pull into that new card. Now with this one, I think it might be a little bit different because it is just such a pivotal card. It is just so strong that it's going to be pretty flexible. We just have to be able to pull it. Right now, she's kind of hanging out at the bottom of our deck, but maybe we can adjust that. So they play a Bucky Barnes, Iceman, and Squirrel Girl. So it looks like maybe a Death Wave. So we're gonna play Bast here. I think it's gonna be Bast for us to go ahead and just play Bast now. We're gonna hold our Hood, our Kitty Pryde, and our Hawk. We have our Hawk in hand, we have our Hood in hand, we have our Kitty Pryde. So they do destroy 3 cards here. They probably have a Killmonger, because this looks like a pretty standard Death Wave. And so the more 1 costs we have on the board, the more we're kind of hanging ourselves out there to potentially be countered. Now, part of me wants to, I don't know, I think we need to play Kitty this turn. I don't know if they're going to end up playing Wave or not. So let's play Hawk in mid. We're going to play Kitty Pryde to the left, and we'll go from there. We may pull Kitty Pryde back in next turn. We may just leave it as the 3 power card. The Shang-Chi does not hit anything in the right lane. Interesting. They probably have it, right? So we can pull Kitty Pryde in, but we are not going to. So if they have Killmonger, they use it here, that swings this lane a bit. I'm going to go ahead and play our Chavez in the right lane, and if they play... Okay, so they do end up retreating. We don't get a great use case for Kitty Pryde, but there she is in all of her glory. Let's go ahead and jump over into the next one where we get a better use for her. All right, next up we have Mirage. The first location is cloning vats. So I think we're going to play Bast into just the unknown. I thought about doing Iceman to just add some disruption to their hand, but I also think it's going to be pretty solid for us to do a Bast, set our hood to 3, so then we can just kind of play him onto the board. It helps us get our Angela kicked off and going. And then Kitty Pryde does show up. I think it's going to be the better strategic play to play Angela into mid. I think that's going to be better for right now. But it's the more fun play to go with the Kitty Pryde. So we're going to copy Kitty Pryde. Next turn, I will play Angela and Kitty in mid, I think. From there, we can pull it back in. We can bounce it. We can just make our Angela absurdly large here. Ooh, we do get Beast. This is beautiful, guys. So we're not going to pull Kitty Pryde into our hand at this turn. So she's not going to get a bonus. But every turn after this, she is going to be free. I want to snap into this, but please, Mirage, let me play this out. This is going to be beautiful. As long as you don't somehow block us, it's going to be beautiful. Even if it happens to be a Cosmo, we can still pull Kitty Pryde back in our hand. It gives us quite a bit of flexibility here. Come on, Mirage, don't do us dirty. Even if we lose this one, I am okay losing this one because we have the Beast set up, which is going to be like the higher high roll for her. It is because now you skip one turn of playing that onto the board, but after that, she's free. Come on, Mirage. Okay, there we go. So the Power Stone and the Time Stone. Okay, a Leech. Actually, no, a Leech wouldn't be that devastating, would it? So this is now 4, 5. Oh no, we don't hit both. Oh yeah, we do. We have 3 Kitty Prydes. This is the. I don't know if we have enough milk for all of the cats that are here. I don't know. That's bad. I don't know, guys. I'm ashamed of myself. We're gonna play them all into mid. We're gonna play them all into mid. I think we hold these two for now. Let's do this. We're gonna hold this Iceman, and we're gonna go from there. Next turn, we can pull all of the Kitty Pryde. So a Leech. If it's an early Leech, that's fine. Oh no! So Subterranean comes up. So if we happen to somehow draw Hawk this turn, then we get some benefit. Otherwise, our Angela is going to be massive. And then our Kitty Pryde, we're going to pull her back into our hand and then replay her next turn for free. And it's going to be amazing. I'm going to try and curb my excitement because this is very exciting for me. So we now go 1, 2, 3. Wait. That's important. The Beast bounce does not stick. I mean, we're still going to play it the same anyways. We're still going to play it out over there. But it's important that that is how it interacts because that's not how I would assume it interacted. Either way, Angela's going to get absurdly large here. Let's go ahead and buff up our cat, and then we're going to buff up our cat one more time. And then Angela is just huge. So they do have the 13 power Devil Dino. The second, or the Soul Stone comes back down in Subterranea after they bounced into their hand. So maybe Beast Bounce, it doesn't end up being the best shell for Kitty Pryde. I thought it would retain that 0 cost, just like similar to if you bounced it into your hand any other way, but it doesn't. I think we play 1 here. This is only an extra 4 over here, which is not fantastic whenever you think about it. We can do the 4 here. Might as well do 4 here, 3 here, 3 here. I don't know if that's the best placement. Oh, wow. We broke the game. There's too many cats on the board. The cats absolutely obliterated it. So we do end up losing from the Valkyrie play, which is big. Valkyrie play right sizes our Angela, and the Soul Stone allows them to make sure they have the win here. And we're still seeing things go off for the stones, but We're going to keep that one in just because I think it's important to know that interaction between Beast and Kitty Pryde, because that's not how I would have naturally thought it would work. Because of the way like Deadpool works, once it's destroyed, it's still 0 cost when it returns back to your hand. So this is interesting. So we're going to go ahead and jump over in the next one. We're going to keep this shell just because I think it still does decently, but I don't think it's going to be as good now with just the Beast. So we'll see. All right, next up we have Camus. I think it's Camus. It's either Camus or Kamad. Not sure which one. We're going to go ahead and we're going to start with Kitty Pryde. Since she's in our opening hand, we're going to go ahead and use it. I would typically like to do Iceman for that extra disruption for the opponent, but I think it's all right. So we do get the smiley face on the newly released card. We're going to pull her back in, and then we're going to play Iceman over here. And I think we go ahead and play Kitty Pryde to the right. Should make it to, let's see how this works. Zabu comes down, so they most likely have a Killmonger that they'll utilize at some point, which is kind of scary with how Kitty Pryde interacts. Let's go ahead and prioritize playing our bishop over there. Do we forego playing the? I'm going to pull Kitty Pryde up, but I don't know. I think we forego playing it this time around or this turn. So the Ironheart. So this isn't the Sarah Zabu Hawk version. This is the Mr. Negative version, which is I think better for us. Let's go ahead and play 2 cards in the Angela lane. We're going to continue to buff up our bishop. We'll pull Kitty back in after this turn. And so we've gotten her up to 6 naturally. And then now that we have both our Angela and bishop, that's even better. That increases the chance that we can make those cards like function as good value cards. That increases it drastically. So they play Adam Warlock into mid. They will get the extra card draw, which I think is okay. We're going to fill our hand with Sentinels, unfortunately. And so it's the last turn that we can play into the vault. I think we pull this back up. We play this. We play this one over here, maybe. I don't think we even need to do Mysterio with how many Raptors popped up on the board. So maybe we just do Sentinel and then Sentinel. If we need to, after this turn, we can pull Kitty Pryde back up. We can play her in one of these 2 lanes. If not, then she's just going to stay there and we have our Chavez to lean in on. And so it really depends on what they drop and how competitive it looks from here. But we do have it's technically, a 4-6? We've played it 4 times. So 4-6 isn't great, actually. 5-8's not incredible either. So without being able to reduce it even further, maybe she's not as solid as I thought, as a like full build around. Like it definitely works as an enabler for your Angela, your bishop. I'd be interested in testing her out in a Mr. Negative deck as well, because then, unlike the Beast interaction, I think it will stick. And so we'll see. Wow, the Iron Man to the right. They don't have a way to buff that up any further. We are going to get the easy retreat. Let's go ahead and take the 1 cube and we'll jump over into the next one. All right. They know that we've been double dipping at our day job, so corporate has come down to absolutely devour us. We're going to start with our Bast. That will set our hood to a +3, and Falcon can eventually pull it back in. We just get a lot of value out of it. So let's go ahead and do our 2 1 costs. Since we don't have Kitty, this becomes a pretty straightforward bounce game so far. And that's just flooding as much as we can out onto the board, and then we go from there. They do change mid with the Scarlet Witch. So that being the first card they play as a 2-3, my immediate thought goes to potentially Cerebro 3. And so we have to be potentially on the lookout for it. I like Falcon to bounce these 2 back in, but at the same time, I don't really want to pull back into it. I don't really want to like shuffle those extra cards into our deck. I also don't want to shuffle a Vibranium in. Maybe we don't. Maybe we don't Falcon at all. We're just going to Demon, and then we're going to let Mysterio go back into our deck. Okay, so not Cerebro 3. It's the Scarlet Witch. It's a Lizard as well. So we do get Beast to bounce these cards back in. Now, the bad thing with Kitty Pryde, as you probably saw in the earlier, the first time that you play it after the Beast bounces it, it doesn't allow you to, it doesn't retain that 0 cost, which feels like a glitch. It doesn't feel like that's the way that it should function. We're going to try it one more time just to make sure that that last one wasn't like an anomaly with cloning vats. But I don't think it's going to retain it, because normally you push it out, you pull it back in with Falcon, Deadpool, you destroy it, it retains that 0. So we'll see. We can now also play those into Hellfire Club, which helps our reach just a touch. And Bast would be better here. Just leaving our Kitty Pryde in our hand, Bast would be better. But I am very curious. I'm curious if it's going to function the way that I think it is. Let's go ahead and do Bast. We know the next turn we're going to draw our Chavez, part of that consistency factor. They do have the Rock Slide to send 2 rocks into our deck as well, so if they have a Hawk, that's kind of scary. We'll see, though. So this is the first time Kitty Pryde has been left on the board. And so we pull her back in, and she is back to 1. So it's unfortunate that it works that way. But Beast is one that you just don't want to hit Kitty Pryde with. You don't want to hit it with Falcon or Beast, and so that's what I thought this was going to really shine in. And so maybe it's more of a like Mr. Negative build. A good cards list doesn't really float energy, so it doesn't really seem to fit there. I mean, it does decently here, just at like to help finish off your curve. I'm sure they have a Killmonger. We're going to retreat now that we verified the interaction, and so we know how to try to play around it anyways. All right, next up we have Purple Panther, and they are running a Thanos deck. We do have Kitty in our starting hand, which with this card is probably going to be necessary. Since the Beast interaction doesn't work how we thought it would, or at least how I thought it would, we need to make sure that we are enabling it very early on. Now, something that I think is going to be cool with Kitty Pryde that I hadn't thought about before is the like Shuri's lab location. You can just continually play it into that location and double its extra power that it's getting, and so it can get pretty large pretty quick, I would imagine. So we don't want to use Falcon on our Kitty Pryde. That's one of those things that we learned the hard way. So let's go ahead and we'll do Hood. I think we play our Falcon now, and then we'll play Kitty Pryde. That way it's not going to pull it back in. We have the option to use it next turn. We are also, if Hood survives in mid, we'll pull that back in as well. And then Iceman, we can use a little bit extra disruption for them. And so the Lockjaw comes down. So that's where they're going to be rotating at. Unfortunately, we don't have a great like play around for it. We could do this. We could do Kitty Pryde one more time. We're going to get another demon. We're going to bounce both of these back into our hand. We won't draw this next turn, unfortunately, so we're going to miss out on both Angela, Bishop, potentially Bast. But I think that's all right. We're probably not going to win this lane, so we'll need to do a bit of a Hail Mary in the right lane. They do switch over into an OU Crossbones. So let's play a few of our cards. I don't know that we have a good way to compete for the right lane, but I do think we at least feign like we do. Let's also act like we're going to play... I'm going to try to play the real Mysterio in mid and see if we can get it to stick. That way next turn we can focus on like a Hawk, an Iceman, and a Kitty Pryde. Actually, no, Hawk, Demon, and Kitty Pryde would be our last turn. So we don't have to worry about the Hood in mid anymore. Our Kitty Pryde is now 8. We can pull it back in. It's going to be a 10 power card because we bounced every single turn, but there's a lot of steps going into making it that big. So without cards like Angela or Bishop, I don't know that it's worthwhile to do. Let's bounce this in. The 6 power Captain Marvel is, I think, fine over there. Play that and then that. They do still have a pretty big right lane. They have a pretty big deck. This is going to be like 16 or so. And we have the real Mysterio in mid, which if I was them, I would not anticipate it to be mid. And so maybe we can sneak that out. Maybe we can trick the Captain Marvel as well. So they skipped and did nothing. I'm so confused. Maybe they disconnected. I don't know. We'll show off our 10 power Kitty Pryde in the left lane. We will go ahead and take the win. And with that one, we are going to go ahead and end the video here. We got some really good interactions with Kitty Pryde. I don't know that this Beast Bounce version is going to be it like I thought it would be. I think it works much better in maybe a collector build. I think the Angela and Bishop are pretty much requirements to get additional value from Kitty Pryde. And then if you don't draw her early, she's just going to be bad. So overall, not bad. I think the build itself and how solid it is definitely helps kind of enable it. But initial impressions are, it doesn't feel as broken as I thought it would be. Using every single turn, floating that 1 additional energy to get on the last turn, a 110, which over the course of the game is going to be a 610. You're putting in a lot of effort, a lot of effort to get something just a touch over an America Chavez. And you have to have it on turn 1. So initial impressions are mixed. I like the card. I like the idea of being able to have that value. So you could just maybe bounce it a couple of times whenever you're floating energy rather than having it stuck with like a sunspot. But I will continue brewing additional builds. I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to give it a like and a comment down below. And as always, this has been TLSG. Later.